Hey everyone, and welcome to another video for the channel. Today we're talking about the motorcycle nobody saw coming, but that everyone needed. We're talking about the all-new Triumph Trident 800, a high-displacement British naked bike that has just shaken up the global market with a package so well-balanced, so well-executed, and so well-priced that its direct rivals must be sweating bullets right now. Why? Because Triumph didn't just launch a new motorcycle. Triumph made a brutal strategic move. They dropped the legendary Street 77765R from their lineup. Yes, they killed it. And in its place, they've introduced this Trident 800, which goes head-to-head with the Suzuki GSX-8T, the Honda CB750 Hornet, the Husqvarna 801, and the Yamaha MT-09. But here's the number that really stings the competition. The new Trident 800 starts at just $10,000 in the United States. That makes it the most affordable option in its class. And yet it comes loaded with technology that many higher-priced motorcycles don't even offer as standard. So, if you're thinking about making the jump to a mid-displacement naked, or you already own one and want to know whether this British machine is truly worth it, stick around. Because today we're breaking down the 10 things you absolutely need to know about the all-new 2027 Triumph Trident 800. Let's start with the heart of this motorcycle, because this is where Triumph truly shows off. The Trident 800 debuts a brand new 798 cubic centimeter inline 3-cylinder engine, developed from the ground up by the engineers in Hinckley. This is not an evolution, not an adaptation. This is a completely new engine from start to finish. The official figures speak for themselves: 115 horsepower at 10,750 revolutions per minute, and a peak torque of 84 Newton meters at 8,500 revolutions per minute. To put that into perspective, it outguns the Honda CB750 Hornet's 92 horsepower and sits just 5 horses below the now discontinued Street 765R. But beyond the numbers, what truly defines this engine is its character. The torsion-forged crankshaft, the dedicated camshaft profile, the dedicated balancer shaft, the forged connecting rods, and the high-compression pistons. These aren't minor details. These are the reason this engine can stretch all the way to 11,500 revolutions per minute without breaking a sweat. And the sound. The intake system has been completely redesigned, featuring velocity stacks and an airbox engineered to amplify that signature Triumph 3-cylinder roar. The second point is one that rarely gets mentioned, but it's one of the most important factors when you analyze the true value proposition of the Trident 800. The 798 cubic centimeter 3-cylinder engine powering this naked bike is the very same block that Triumph uses in the new Tiger Sport 800, their premium adventure touring machine. What does that mean for you as a buyer? It means you're getting a proven engine, one with thousands of real-world development miles under its belt, ridden across a wide variety of conditions, backed by a well-established parts network, and with a reliability track record already validated in the market. Triumph didn't take an experimental engine and drop it into a brand new naked just to see what would happen. They took a pedigreed power plant, tuned it with specific components for a sharper, more reactive power delivery, and installed it in a platform designed to let you enjoy every single rev to the fullest. This also means that Triumph's official dealer network already knows this engine inside and out, which translates to faster service turnarounds, better trained technicians, and far fewer unpleasant surprises down the road. In a segment where reliability matters just as much as performance, that detail makes a very real difference. When Triumph talks about instinctive agility in the Trident 800, they're not throwing around an empty marketing slogan. They back it up with a concrete number: 198 kilograms, fully fueled and ready to ride. To put that in proper context, the KTM 790 Duke and the Honda CB750 Hornet both come in at 189 kilograms, while the Suzuki GSX-8 tips the scales at 203 kilograms. The Trident 800 sits right in the middle of the segment, but its chassis geometry is where it truly sets itself apart. The steering head angle is noticeably sporty, the wheelbase is short and compact, and the tubular steel perimeter frame has been engineered to be lightweight without giving up an ounce of rigidity. The ergonomics also work in your favor: wide handlebars, an upright seating position, and a narrow leg arch that lets you get your feet down with confidence. The seat height comes in at 810 millimeters, comparable to the Trident 660's 805mm, making it accessible to a wide range of riders. The real-world result of all this is that in the city, the Trident 800 moves with a naturalness and agility that numbers on a spec sheet simply can't fully capture. Early international test riders describe it as a bike that reacts before you finish thinking the move. And on a daily ridden naked bike, that is exactly what you want. Fact number 4 is the chassis and cycle part of the new Trident. This is where Triumph placed its bets on first-rate components, and the Showa name has a great deal to do with that decision. Up front, we find a 41mm Showa SFF-BP inverted fork, separate function front fork big piston, meaning separate damping functions with a large diameter piston split between the two legs, fully adjustable for both compression and rebound. This is not standard at this price point. It's the kind of component that, on other brands, shows up only in higher spec or top-tier versions. Out back, a Showa monoshock in a direct mount setup. No linkage system, classic roadster construction, with preload and rebound adjustment. The swing arm is aluminum, which helps keep unsprung mass in check and sharpens the sense of communication with the road surface. The brakes round out a very compelling package. Twin 310mm front discs gripped by radially mounted 4-piston calipers, with braided steel brake lines as standard equipment. A single disc at the rear axle completes the system. Tires are Michelin, sized 120/70 ZR17 up front and 180/55 ZR17 at the rear. Classic sport dimensions that guarantee a wide, high-quality replacement selection worldwide. This is where the Trident 800 truly hits the competition hardest. The key question when analyzing a new motorcycle is not what electronics are available as options, but what comes included as standard, without spending a single dollar more. And Triumph's answer on that front is decisive. The Trident 800 comes standard with a 6-axis IMU, inertial measurement unit, cornering ABS that remains active even at steep lean angles, IMU managed cornering traction control, 3 riding modes, road, sport, and rain. The Triumph Shift Assist bidirectional quickshifter for both upshifts and downshifts, cruise control, Bluetooth connectivity with the My Triumph app for music management, calls, and navigation, and full LED lighting with daytime running lights and self-canceling turn signals. All of this is managed through a 3.5-inch color TFT display with an intuitive interface operable from the left-hand switchgear. No need to take your eyes off the road. To put it in perspective, some of the Trident 800's direct rivals charge extra for the quickshifter, cruise control, or even additional riding modes. Triumph includes every single one of them, no exceptions. In terms of technology to price ratio, this motorcycle has no direct rival in its class. We could mention the Triumph Shift Assist as just another bullet point on the spec sheet, but the testimonials from the first riders who tested it on real tracks deserve their own chapter. The system allows bidirectional gear changes, up and down, without touching the clutch and without cutting acceleration. That alone is already standard in this segment. What is not standard is the smoothness with which it operates. International testers, including specialized media from the United States and Europe who rode the bike in Cyprus ahead of its commercial launch, all agree on one thing. The Trident 800's Shift Assist is one of the best in its class, with imperceptible transitions both upshifting and downshifting, even in mixed scenarios like blipping down under acceleration or shifting up while decelerating. That last function, upshifting while decelerating, is considered the gold standard in modern quickshifters, and not every manufacturer implements it with this level of transparency. Triumph does it here, on a motorcycle that starts at under $10,000. That is an engineering achievement that should not go unnoticed. The new Triumph Trident 800 makes no attempt to hide what it is. Its design communicates with clarity, a sporty naked bike with attitude. No unnecessary gimmicks, no borrowed identity, just a visual character of its own that sets it apart in a segment dominated by Japanese, Austrian, and Chinese machines. The silhouette is compact and muscular. The sculpted fuel tank holds 14 liters, enough for urban and road use without constant fuel stops. The tail section is sleek, and the upswept exhaust reinforces that sporting profile. The belly pan and small fly screen, available color matched to the bodywork, add an aggressive edge without breaking the clean lines of the overall design. The round headlight is one of the most recognizable elements on this motorcycle. Triumph leans into a neo-retro aesthetic that stays true to the brand's classic identity, but brings it forward with full LED technology and an integrated DRL daytime running light. The result is a bike you can identify as a Triumph from 100 meters away. As for colors, the launch lineup offers 3 options: ash gray with Diablo red accents, carnival red with graphite highlights, and jet black. 3 classic choices, but effective ones, covering both the rider who prefers to blend in and the one who is born to stand out. You can't talk about the Trident 800 without talking about the chess move Triumph made when they announced it. Simultaneously with the Trident 800 launch, Triumph announced the discontinuation of the Street Triple 765R, because a new, larger engine Street Triple is almost certainly coming in the years ahead. Why pull it now? Because the Trident 800, with 115 horsepower and 84 Newton-meters of torque, gets close enough to the Street Triple R's performance numbers that keeping both in the same catalog at similar prices simply made no commercial sense. The Street Triple 765R costs $11,000 in the United States. The Trident 800 costs $10,000. A $1,000 difference for just 5 fewer horsepower, and in many respects a more complete feature set. The decision leaves the Street Triple 765RS standing in the lineup, the high-performance variant with Öhlins suspension and Brembo brakes, aimed at a completely different buyer profile. Triumph restructured its range with clear logic. The Trident 660 for entry-level riders, the Trident 800 for the high-performance mid-segment, and the Street Triple RS for those who demand the ultimate expression of the platform. It's a clean strategy, a coherent one, and from the consumer's point of view, a very welcome one. The 9th fact is its price and warranty. A motorcycle shouldn't be judged only at the moment of purchase. The total cost of ownership over time is what truly determines whether an investment makes sense or doesn't. And here, the Triumph Trident 800 surprises us again in the best possible way. The factory warranty is 4 years with no mileage limit. 4 years. In a segment where many brands offer 1 or 2 years, often with restrictions, this is a bold statement of confidence from Triumph in the quality and durability of every single machine they build. They don't need to cap your mileage because they know exactly what they're selling. Service intervals are set at 16,000 kilometers or 12 months, whichever comes first. That's hugely significant when it comes to long-term ownership costs, especially compared to brands that schedule services every 6,000 or even 4,000 kilometers, which can multiply your workshop bills year after year. On top of that, Triumph's genuine accessories catalog is broad and high quality. A standout option? A titanium Akrapovic exhaust with a carbon fiber outlet, letting you personalize the bike in both look and sound, without voiding your warranty. The bottom line? This is a motorcycle that won't break the bank to buy and won't break the bank to keep. That combination? It's rare in this market. We've arrived at number 10, and possibly the most powerful argument in the entire case for the new Triumph Trident 800. The price. With a launch price of €10,400 in Spain, $10,000 in the United States, and equivalent figures across global markets, the Trident positions itself as the most affordable option in its performance category. And we're not talking about a stripped-down motorcycle or a machine that cuts corners on equipment to hit that number. This is the most fully equipped bike in its segment at the lowest price. Compare it to its direct rivals. None of them match the level of standard electronic equipment the Trident 800 brings to the table, and in several markets, they carry higher price tags. Even within Triumph's own lineup, the positioning couldn't be clearer. The Trident 660 starts at $8,400, the Trident 800 at $10,000, and the Street Triple 765RS crosses the $13,000 mark. There's a logical staircase of performance and price, and no buyer should ignore it before making their decision. The Trident 800 sits on the most compelling step of that staircase, maximum performance at the lowest entry point into the Triumph family. And that right there is hard to argue with. So, after walking through all 10 reasons, the question left on the table is a simple one. Is the new Triumph Trident 800 the best mid-displacement naked bike on the market in 2026 and 2027? The honest answer is, it depends on what you're looking for. If you prioritize maximum track performance, the Street Triple 765 RS remains the undisputed queen of the Triumph lineup. If you're looking for a gentle introduction to the world of naked bikes, the Trident 660 is still an unbeatable proposition. But if what you want is the most complete, most technologically advanced, most well-balanced, and best-priced naked in the mid-displacement segment, with a 3-cylinder engine that sounds like nothing else out there, a 4-year warranty, a class-leading quickshifter, and the badge of one of the most historic names in motorcycling history, then the Triumph Trident 800 has no real competition right now. Triumph took its time getting to 800 cubic centimeters with the Trident family, but when it finally arrived, it arrived with everything. This is not an evolutionary update. It's a category leap at an entry-level price. And in today's motorcycling world, that's something worth celebrating. If this video was helpful, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know in the comments. Would you go for the Triumph Trident 800, or would you stick with one of its rivals? The debate is open. Ride safe, and we'll see you in the next one.